sang en kjent sang.
This is a well-known song from ages. We had this guy. He was a evangelist, so to say. If you know what an evangelist is, he was in Maranatha. Maranatha is a Hebrew word which I am going to search now. But let me just interfere. Maranatha is the Aramaic. It's a prayer cry. It's some kind of prayer cry. It's Aramaic. Praise. So when we search Wikipedia, this means, "Oh Lord, come." It's a cry where you see King David and maybe many more King Davids cried for the king to come, the Lord to come. I had a dream. I wanted to tell about it because while I was laying in bed yesterday, Wednesday, I had this dream that was... I just remember what happened. And it was I was in a foreign country, a foreign place, where there were wild dogs, so to say, wild people that was shooting like nobody knows where the bullet would hit, but the guy that was shooting more or less in like this. And I put myself down to the earth, and while I was waving like this, I could feel the bullet, the air of the bullet just pass by. And that was in my dream. And it was kind of sand and buildings and so on, but I didn't know what was really that about. I come to think about it today because I heard about this journalist from Al Jazeera. Maybe I pronounce it wrong, but I don't care about pronunciation. But I dreamt that dream. And later on I just joined this group called Olive Palestine. Palestine. They are crazy. They blame Israel for everything. It's if it's even for occupying territory, their land, and they are talking about a dream that they want to be real, that they go back to Palestine. It's not even an Arabic word. Please forgive me for mentioning that. Maybe it's an Italian word, and they claim that it was Palestine, or Palestine, or something like that. That's their word for it. But they don't know that this is past ages, and the Romans that conquered this area called this area Palestine. Philistine. And I hope they love this Jaffa orange. This is from Jaffa, by the way. And they claim also ownership of Jaffa. Tel Aviv, Jerusalem is now their capital. The Palestinians claim that Jerusalem is their capital forever and ever. They just jumped narrative that since Israel is back, they want to come back to. Since it's called Israel, it have to be back to Palestine, the same area, and there is no acceptance, no tolerance for any other division or. So they go for the whole area. It's not the border from '67. They are not admitting to that. even Olmert was the only one president that have given promises of releasing these areas. Almost, it was maybe 98% of all these demanded areas that the Palestinian authorities wanted to have. And they had the dialogue extensively and intensely dialogue with the Palestinians, but since they couldn't get 100%, 2% off, they denied the whole deal. How come that people in that area can't really stick to the fact that Israel is there to be? They have the map of Israel and claim it to be Palestinian. And people today believe wholeheartedly that it was their country. But the funny thing is that they had no president, they had no ruler in Palestine. It was something different. You have to look it up, but it was at least not a country that is called Palestine. It's not. It's an area. It was Syria. Maybe it was also in Lebanon, but definitely Israel and Jordan and this area around Israel and in Israel. They claim to be Palestine. But I'm not here to make jokes of Palestinian dreams, yet they can't have it. The demand is too hard. It's kind of, what? Do you want the whole nation to move just because your dream is so far off? No, they believe wholeheartedly that there is one people that is called Palestinian and one nation called Palestinian. And if you look it up, the nation flag, if you have it, of Palestine was the Israeli flag. If you take a look at this is Palestine. And furthermore, here is valuta or money. This is the Anglo-Palestine Bank Limited, 1 Palestine pound. And if you look carefully, you will see the Hebrew letters. So this is it. That's how fake the notion of Palestinian to only a Palestinian people that call themselves Palestinian. That was when Arafat chose to call them Palestinian after the 67 war. He claimed the ownership of the Palestinian heritage. But those people back then that was born before 1948, that was something strong. They called themselves Palestinian. Either it was Jews or Arabs, the people that was born in that area. I met a guy, a painter. He was a very well-known painter, an artist, worldwide. And I met him in the bus. And I asked, can I sit beside you? Because I like to sit in the front. I like to always sit in the front of the bus so that I can see the road. And he was an elderly man, about 70 something, above 70 I think. But he was very nice, and he was a leftist. He claimed that I defend the Palestinian rights, and so on and so on. But he said, I am born as a Palestinian. That was his take on that, because he said, I am born in Haifa before the 48 nation of Israel. So I'm a real Palestinian, but I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew by origin. I'm a Jew born in Palestine, so I'm a Palestinian. And maybe he had this passport too. I don't saw it. I got a visit card from him. I'm proud of that. And he said that in old times, when we were living in Haifa as kids, we visited the Arab families, played with their children, kids, and they visited us and played with us. We slept over in their house, and they slept over in our house, as children do. They like to sleep over and explore the excitement of sleeping in a different home. Do your kids do that? I was denied that kind of... it was never talked about, I think, but my sister, I think she did it. I can't say, but my parents were very afraid for us to interact with secular children, secular parents. I don't believe in that. Secular parents are more decent, have some honor, have some backbone of ownership. So I don't judge them anymore. I did that before, but that is way past. So I had this dream. Let us not forget about my dreams. I have a dream. So my dream was about this shooting guy. He was just aiming, hatred, pure hatred. He couldn't stop himself for shooting. And I felt the bullet passing through, but it did not hit me. And when I woke up, I saw these groups' posts that everything was blamed on Israel, as well as this journalist from Al Jazeera was shot by a IDF sniper or soldier. And I thought to myself, is that a fact? People from Israel, they are not that maniac to shoot people, and if they did, they had a accident in the best case scenario. They had this accident that was happening there, but they would openly admit to that kind of accident because that is a no-go. I saw just recently a video that showed how the Arabic countries, Muslim countries, or Hamas treat the journalists if they don't abide by their rules. In Israel, Israeli soldiers defend the journalists to speak out, even it's against. I saw that very clear one time, because I was in Ashdod in 2014. I think that was the flotilla case, and on the heap we lived close by, so I wanted to walk around and stroll around and see what really happens, because we heard about this flotilla case, the ship that was going to send something to Gaza, which they hit the blockade, but Israel invited them to use the harbor of Ashdod in order to let their goods come through Israel by the normal way. And every day there were hundreds of lorries, trailers that was going from Israel into Gaza, also from Egypt into Gaza, because those two countries had to control this area because of the rockets and all this kind of turmoil during the war. Before the war, it was also the rockets. So the Norwegian guys, they are so brain dead, because everything, something happened there, is always on Israel. So I saw the journalists on the Mount of Jonah. It's called Mount of Jonah. The Hillel, I think it was Elit or something, Elit Jonah, and I saw the loads of journalists, even some from Norway. One from NRK, I didn't get to speak to her, Sissel Woe, but I saw this Gresvik, and I said to him, it's yet another case which we know you are going to say Israel, Israel, Israel. No, but I invited him to talk more, but he didn't do that. He was kind of rude in his response, because he is so preoccupied with putting blame. But a journalist should never do that. Journalists should keep their head straight regarding conflicts. Also regarding Ukraine, the journalist is all for Ukraine. Not that I defend Russia, but as a journalist, where is the backbone of the code of being a journalist? I can't really understand. I think they excuse themselves with so many narratives, so many sayings, so many words out there that you can't really know, but they are paid to know. Even those glamorous, popular journalists from Al Jazeera, they should keep their head straight. But any which way, I had this dream that was maybe some kind of a signal. I didn't know, because it was just this incident. I laid down and he kept on shooting. So this is what I was waking up to, shooting. And this Olive Palestine group, all these I don't call them activists because they are just slandering around, but those that wrote something was writing very against hatred against Israel and lies against Israel. It's all lies, but it goes. That is their name of the game. Blame Israel and don't care about the facts. But people are not honest. People are not serious. We don't take them seriously anyway. But I woke up to this, and maybe it had some deeper meaning, profound meaning. That it was. I couldn't see who was shooting, but it was a crazy maniac. So that is, you see, the Israeli soldiers have these 4 years of training, exercise, and much of their training is to avoid conflict. When they are in certain places like towns or cities, in order to go in and strike the head of the snake, they do it like a surgical operation. There is statistics about that they are striking very precise, so that no casualties is harmed, no civilians is harmed. So it can be collateral damage and all these kind of damages, and also failure, and can also be this kind of accidents. But the code for IDF, Israeli Defense Force, is to strike exactly where it have been planned. All their operation is planned ahead. So it is not just random, like Cecil Woll was saying back in 2014. No, give me a break. Yeah, 2014 was the Gaza war. It was 2012, the flotilla case was, I think. I'm just a little bit confused, but she said that Israeli soldiers are shooting on anything. But this is very tendencies report. She never did anything but lie about Israel, and obviously had only the Palestinian in heart. Everybody is lying about Israel. And I saw this shooter, crazy shooter. He was aiming at us, but didn't hit us. So Israeli Defense Force confirmed they were shooting at that moment. None of their soldiers were hit and dead. But anyway, if you go into the dream, someone got wounded, but I'm not the one. So maybe I identify myself with Israel, but we have to be aware of those killers that are shooting everywhere and nowhere. I'm just struck by this shock. I had this dream and heard this afterwards, that this lady, a journalist from Al Jazeera, was shot dead. And the Palestinian Authority didn't want to have this incident examined. Why? They have the body, they have obviously the bullet, so what is their reason for not cooperating with Israel to find what really happened? Israel Defense Force didn't say, we didn't do it. They said, we will find it out, we will find out. And they have the habit of finding things out. So, and this is too much for me, but I wanted to talk about it because it may help, it may confirm that I'm joined together with Israel in some way. I don't know that, I don't know how, but we have to be, I believe in blessing. I bless Israel. I bless all the Jews. May they all come back home freely, free, independent people. And I also want to use this occasion because I want to bless Palestinians. Those Palestinian civilians that are victimhood of their leaders. There is no occupation, but it is just a narrative. There is no Israeli, what they call genocide and apartheid. They say that Israel are doing the genocide of the Palestinian. Even in the Palestinian schools, both in Hebron and Gaza, which we are giving money to, they are learning the way to kill Israelis, how to attack Israel, and who would teach children, use children for that occasion? So, my friends, we have to keep a blessing. I want to end this video with some profound blessing, because if you feel that someone is against you, I think you yourself can be your worst enemy, and you can strike yourself where you didn't know you could hit. And be of a humble mind when you meet yourself or people. Be of a humble mind, but stick to what is right. Defend what is right, my friend. And that is Israel for you. That is Shalom for you. Be an activist for the right, for the truth, for the good, my friends. Have a good day. I'm waiting, I'm doing, and going.